Recording in progress.
I call this meeting to order for the Douglas County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, May 6, 2025. Please note that there is a copy of the Open Meetings Act, and it's located in the north wall of the Legislative Chamber and alongside an automatic external defibrillator. And we do have, it is Corrections Week, and we do have the Honor Guard. Please stand for the presentation of colors and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Honor Guard. Attention. Forward, march. Mark time. Group, halt. Honor Guard, right, face. Ready. Post. Honor Guard, ready, front.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor Guard, left face. Present on. Order on. Honor Guard, left face. Forward march.
Thank you very much. We will now commence with the County Board of Equalization meeting. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson?
Present.
Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Here.
Commissioner Fahey?
Present.
Commissioner Garcia is absent, as well as Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Rogers, Mr. Chair.
Here. The first item of business are items A and B on the agenda, A being the approval of the minutes for the Board of Equalization meeting held Tuesday, April 29th, 2025, and B being a call for a meeting and set Tuesday, May 13th, 2025 as a date for a hearing on certified assessment corrections reflecting the addition of omitted property to the tax rolls or increased value on property. Do I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Fahey. Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item of business is Resolution C through F, which can include adjournment. Do I have a motion and a second on C through F? Yes, Commissioner Rogers.
Did somebody contact you all about item C?
I think.
Good morning. I did receive an email from the organization, but it was just to ask what the fees would be for renewing without the exemption.
Can I make a separate motion, Mr. Chair, to lay over this item C for a week?
Motion by Commissioner Rogers to lay the item over for a week. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yeah, just a point of order. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, my name's Bridget Tweedy.
And who are you with?
I'm with the Douglas County Treasurer's Office.
Okay. you're recommending that we deny the application for tax exempt status because some forms, Form 457 was not timely filed, is that right?
Yes, so the form says that it has to be filed either the month that the registration is due or the month before. So we did receive this application after it was due. So we do offer a one-time exemption for each business, and they had already used theirs.
They had?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not what that's my understanding. That wasn't my understanding, but, okay.
I don't have that exact date on me. I can get that to you.
And that's why I was like, can you lay it over the week? Because I didn't, if they've used it, then we can do it next week.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can get more information on that.
Okay, thank you.
So, you're
sorry.
saying that there is a one-time exemption rule, and they had used their one-time exemption?
Yes, previously.
And when was that?
I don't have that
But a
date.
previous year?
It was not this year in 2025. I believe it was in 2024.
Okay.
So with the way that we have it set up, it's only one time. It's not like one time a year.
Okay. And had you had personal contact with them?
They emailed their forms in, and then I did receive a phone call from them to find out just how much it was going to be.
Okay.
So,
The reason that they filed late, did they give a reason for filing late?
They said they just missed it.
It was a mistake.
Yeah, like they just missed getting it turned in on time.
Commissioner Rogers.
then I would, I can, this is a long way to do it. I would just say, I would move then to, at the same time, rescind the motion for item C and just to approve item C through F and adjourn.
There's a motion to rescind the withdrawal or the
Layover.
layover of C. Who was the second on that? Commissioner Fahey?
I need to similarly rescind my second, then
Yes.
I so do.
The motion is rescinded. Do we have a motion and a second on resolution C through F, Mr. Clerk? And adjournment.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, unless I guess I didn't hear Commissioner Rogers. If he was just amending his motion to just include all of it and adjourn, then I'd have a motion. And
Okay.
Technically, you'd have to do one at a time, but if
Right.
everybody's unanimous consent, I'm just moving to rescind C and approve items C through F with adjournment at the same time.
The motion by Rogers, and I believe the second was by Commissioner Fahey. Was that? Okay.
So does.
all right.
Thank you. With adjournment.
All right. We are ready to vote when you all are. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and we have no need for executive session. We will now commence with the Board of Commissioners meeting. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson? Present. Commissioner Kavanaugh? Commissioner Fahey?
Present.
Commissioner Garcia and Commissioner Morgan are both absent. Commissioner Rogers? Mr. Chair.
Here. First item is first item of business are items 1A and 1B. 1A being approval of the minutes for the Board of Commissioners meeting held Tuesday, April 29th, 2025, and 1B being approval of claims submitted for payment processed through Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Commissioner Rogers,
Second.
second by Commissioner Fahey. Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item is the consent agenda with items A through E on the agenda. Do I have a motion and a second for discussion?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Fahey. Any discussions, anybody wishing to speak on these items or any discussion on these consent items? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The next item on our agenda would be recognitions and proclamations. And the first recognition is a resolution proclaiming May 4th through the 10th as Douglas County Corrections Week, period. Director Myers is here for some information.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael Myers, Director of Corrections for Douglas County. Before I read the resolution, I just want to start with the history of Corrections Week was started in 1984 by President Ronald Reagan, recognizing the vital role that correctional officers play across the country. And when we think about our local justice system, there is not one agency that doesn't depend upon us. The prosecutors can't do their job, the defense attorneys can't do their job, law enforcement can't do their job, the judges can't do their job. Everybody who interfaces with the criminal justice system relies upon corrections in one way or another, whether that's providing legal access to clients, whether that's providing health care, whether that's providing reentry services, and far and away the most important, providing the safety and security within that facility. So with that, I will read the resolution. Whereas Douglas County recognizes the exceptional challenges all correctional officers and staff face while conducting their duties on a daily basis, and whereas the officers and staff of the Douglas County Department of Corrections routinely perform acts of heroism and have saved the lives of numerous individuals with little notoriety. Whereas the officers and staff of the Douglas County Department of Corrections continually make our community safer and improve the well-being of all citizens by helping those most in need. Whereas Douglas County is grateful that our corrections officers and staff willingly risk their own safety in order to protect the safety of others. And whereas the first week of May annually serves as a week to recognize corrections professionals. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners that May 4th through the 10th, 2025 is recognized as Corrections Week. Thank you very much, Commissioners. We have a variety of things we're doing this week to celebrate ourselves, which we don't get to do very often, and I sent you a schedule of activities. You're all welcome to attend as your schedule provides. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Myers.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Borgeson, second by Commissioner Rogers. Commissioner Borgeson.
Well, one, I just want to thank, I think they already left, but the Honor Guard for being with us today. It always does give me a bit of a chills when they perform their duties, and so I thank them for being with us today, and especially during today as we honor Correction Week. It is one of those, we say really all the time, is that it's kind of a thankless job. They go very unnoticed in the most important work that they do within our criminal justice system. And so I think to take a day, a week today, and then whatever your activities are throughout this week to honor them, I think that's a very good thing, and just want them to know that we support them 100%. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Commissioner Borgeson. I would add, Mike, and I was at a memorial service yesterday for corrections officers that passed away during the year. And I didn't do a very good job of telling them what my thoughts were, because sometimes that happens. But one of the things that I wanted to point out is, to piggyback on what Commissioner Borgeson said, there are days and weeks and months throughout the year where we celebrate individuals that have given the ultimate sacrifice in our military, law enforcement, and they're out front and center. Everybody knows about it. We have golf tournaments for folks. There are fundraisers. There's all kinds of fanfare, and well-deserved. It's not fanfare. It's information, well-deserved information. What has occurred to me over time is they do really dangerous work in this facility. They help people, and they also protect our community. And a lot of people just don't know. I mean, they just don't understand. And unless you walked one of those shifts, I don't think you ever could. So it is important, not just that a bunch of commissioners recognize it, but the community as a whole gets a really, really clear understanding about how difficult that job is and the service that they provide. So thank you, Mike, and it'll be an interesting week, and we're looking forward to the to information back and participating in the festivities. I do have a motion already, and a second. Please vote on the resolution.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you again, folks. And thank you, Mr. Clerk. The next resolution is Resolution B, recognizing Together Omaha on 50 years of service, leadership, and commitment to the residents of Douglas County. And I think Commissioner Borgeson has the resolution. What did I do?
No, I was looking for Mike, and I didn't see him until he went like this. Did you want to come to, you guys want to come to the podium?
Oh, okay.
I was hiding in plain sight.
You were hiding. So I'll read the resolution first, and then we'll go from there. So, whereas in 1975, 7 Omaha congregations united to form Together in response to the devastating tornado, soon expanding their mission to serve families in need year-round. And whereas Together has since grown into a leading nonprofit with 55 employees serving 35,000 people annually across Nebraska and Iowa. And whereas Together has also expanded its mission to prevent and end hunger and homelessness through strategic partnerships with nonprofit, government agencies, businesses, and caring individuals. And whereas guided by values of hope, dignity, compassion, excellence, and diversity, Together provides vital services, including food distribution, housing support, and volunteer programs. And whereas in 2004 alone, Together served 2,831 households, helping 2,529 individuals secure housing, distributed 4.3 million pounds of food, and benefited from over 4,394 volunteer hours. And whereas Together continues transforming lives and strengthening the community with a vision of safe housing, food security, and dignity for all. Now therefore be it resolved by this Board of County Commissioners, Douglas County, Nebraska, that this board hereby recognizes Together Omaha on 50 years of exceptional service, leadership, and commitment to the residents of Douglas County, dated this 6th day of May, 2025. I would make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Borgeson to approve, second by Commissioner Rogers. Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner
Chair.
Borgeson.
Thank you. And Mike, thanks for being here. And I think it's really important that the board does bring our community organizations forward to not only just recognize them, but to understand the impact that you make on a daily basis within our community. And so reading the stats, that's one thing, but I've actually seen you guys in action and worked cooperatively with you over the years in different capacities, and you just keep impressing. And so thank you for what you do for our community, but especially for those that we serve, and it's an honor to be able to recognize you on your 50 years of service, so thank you.
Thank you for the recognition for this milestone in our organization, and it's a milestone for our city as well, because today at 4 o'clock would be the 50th anniversary of the tornado, which is actually the event that brought us into being. So it's a day of remembrance and a day of celebration for our 50 years. So thank you very much for honoring the work that we've done the last 50 years and the impact that we've had on the community. We really appreciate it.
And can we get a picture?
Thank you, Mike. And yeah, look, hang around. We'll get a picture out in front.
Yeah.
But anyone else wishing to speak on this resolution? Seeing none, let's get a picture. Oh, we have to vote first. It has to be approved. Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, the next item on the agenda are presentations that we have, two presentations. The first is a young friend, old friend, whatever, Val McPherson and his folks at the Spring 2025 UNO Waisili Southeast Asia delegation visit. This was put on the agenda by Chair Roger Garcia. And Val, take it away.
First, I would like to say my name is Val McPherson, 6415 Glenwood Road, Omaha, Nebraska. And secondly, I would like to say thank you. This is actually my 23rd year anniversary of bringing international visitors to the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meetings. So thank you for 23 years of hospitality. Secondly, I would like to say this is the 11th year that UNO has had the pleasure to host for 5 weeks at a time delegations of young leaders from 11 different Southeast Asian countries. You have been very, very gracious for the last 11 years, and we want to thank you very much for that. I would also like to recognize two of the members of the wonderful team that I work with at UNO. Would Jody and Michael please stand? I would also like to congratulate Together Omaha for the reason they formed, for the work they've done for the last 50 years, and perhaps this will be a reminder to them that their work may never be done. 2.5 weeks ago, when this delegation arrived, many of them were still in the airport when they had to seek shelter because of the approaching tornado. So for many of our Waisilis, this was their first introduction to Omaha. We're hoping that things have gone a little more smoothly since. But enough about me and more about the program. For the last 11 years, I have been amazed with the quality of the leadership that the Waiselis have exhibited when they come to Omaha. They've already accomplished. And this group, ages 20 through 25, have already done amazing things. They're here not only because of what they've done, but because of the potential that many other people have seen in them to be tremendous leaders going into the future. Just a reminder that the U.S. Department of State selects these Waiselis via our embassies, and this is a process similar to what they've been doing since just before World War II with the International Visitor Leadership Program. And now over 1,000 of those alumni have gone on to be either the president or prime minister of their countries. So there's a good possibility that you have a future president or prime minister here with you today. I would like you to meet all of them. So Waiselis, if you would please form a line going up the aisle there. And one of you can come up and start making your introductions.
You can give us your names and tell us your field of study and what you'd like to do. And have you ever heard of the term filibuster? We don't. Well, we do that, but you guys don't. What? Oh, and where you're from? Yes. Thank you.
I can't see you. Okay ค่ะ Assalamu alaikum สวัสดีค่ะ My name is Anantaya Gani. I'm from Thailand, currently a final year student pursuing cultural studies, specifically on global cultures. And I have a passion on tackling epistemic violence on girls and women, and through educational opportunity for us to realize and reach our fullest potential. And most importantly, for us to have the knowledge that our dreams, hopes, values, and voices matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sawadee hello everybody. I'm Fa from Thailand. You also can call me like my full name is Parishat Paushanwan. I'm just graduated from King Mongkut Institute of Technology Lat Krabang in Applied Statistics bachelor degrees and one semester in Germany, Stuttgart Media Universities by government funding. And currently right now I'm the business developer in like South Korea companies in Thailand Center, and my non-profit organization's named Touching Heart, funding by Temasek Foundation Singapore, and we just building communication to raise awareness of hate speech, mental health illness, and emotional intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Pran Piyakunawat, or you can call me Bell. Currently, I am a third-year student majoring in international relations at Thammasat Universities. And also, I'm also working as the Young Advisory at the UNICEF Thailand. My specialty in terms of civic engagement and the policy for young people. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Yiling from Singapore, and I have a background in sociology, and I'm currently doing suicide prevention research, focusing on vulnerable populations in Singapore. And in my free time, I volunteer with befriending homeless people. Thank you.
Hello, Shalom, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. I'm Sienna, I'm from Indonesia. I just had graduated from Nusa Chandana University 2 years ago, and currently I'm working as a teacher in my country. I'm passionate in education. Currently in my country, I found a community which is called Sahabat Lentera Desa, and through this community, we are trying to provide mentoring session which is free for all of youth coming from rural areas, because I am the one and only coming from my village which is pursuing my education with scholarship. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jenny. I'm from Timor-Leste. Currently, I'm a final year student majoring in chemistry education. My passion is about social issues, especially in gender-based violence, focused on physical and sexual violence for women. Thank you.
Thank you.
Salam sejahtera and a very good day. My name is Alisha Hafiz. I'm from Malaysia. I'm currently pursuing economics at University Science Malaysia. My passion is on gender equality and women empowerment, which aligns with Sustainable Development Goals number 5. And I do volunteering. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mabuhay. Good morning, commissioners. I'm Samantha Gail Santos, and I'm from the Philippines. I am a children and youth empowerment advocate, and I'm currently serving as the Senior Assistant for National Prosecution Development at International Justice Mission. It's a global organization based in Washington, D.C., which focuses on protecting people from poor communities from violence. So our focus in the Philippines is fighting to end online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. We also partner with the U.S. government together with NCMEC. So it's an organization here in the U.S. who also protects children, most especially in Southeast Asia. So our organization focuses now on OSAEC, or online sexual abuse and exploitation of children, and we aim to support pertinent legal actors in the Philippine judicial system for them to be able to be victim sensitive, trauma informed, and child protective. Thank you.
Thanks.
Kalina, good morning, commissioners. Greetings of peace from the Philippines. I come from a background of communications and community development and youth leadership. I am currently one of the only Filipino senior youth panelist at the European Union Youth Empowerment Fund. And recently, I have aided to provide funding for youth-led initiatives across the world. And we have provided funding for over 1,000 projects across the world. And I am also a board member for KIO Philippines, a Belgian-funded nonprofit working on youth empowerment and children's rights across my country. And I co-founded a nonprofit called Kalasag, wherein I am the chairperson and the operations lead for disaster relief and response, aiding, providing relief aid to communities that are, who went through disasters. That's why I am also thankful to listen to what Together Omaha has shared, because we are a very young organization, and we just started 3 years ago, where we provided aid to a community in the Philippines. We sent 8 tons of potable water and food, as well as clothes to that community. And currently we're growing, and recently we have provided aid to 3,000 families in the island group of Mindanao. And we continue to do the work that we do because we know that during disasters, it's a time crucial to provide the need immediately. So we aim to be there in the first 5 days after the disaster has happened. And I look forward to learn a lot from your city, from your local government, and to share my experiences from that side of the world. Thank you so much for everything that you do, and thank you for welcoming me in Omaha.
Thank you.
Mabuhay, everyone. I am Ricardo Vidal from the Philippines, a proud and humbled public servant, a youth council member serving as the Sangguniang Kabataan Secretary of the biggest barangay in our country, also serves as the chairperson of the Commonwealth Young Leaders Coalition. Our youth-led initiatives include our project entitled Project Rescue Seafood Basket, which aims to provide nutritious food packs for our malnourished children, severely underweight children, and vulnerable families to fight hunger, malnutrition, and food security. Also, we have the Project InQSave, an inclusive disaster program tailored for our persons with disabilities to equip them with the lifelong saving skills and knowledge. Thank you.
Hello, selamat pagi, good morning. Thank you for your opportunity for us. I'm to be glad and honored stand and speech in here. My name is Hilarius Brian Paratwa Simbolon, You can call me Brian. I'm from Indonesia. I'm a Batak boy, one of many ethnicity in Indonesia. I was born in Bontang, in a great city in East Kalimantan, Borneo. My educational background, I'm a Bachelor of Political Science, and that's why I'm now actively in my community to about democratic education, political participation for young people, freedom of civic space in Indonesia. And then that's why maybe I stand here to make my participation in Douglas County Commissioner. Thank you for this opportunity, and I believe I want to make a better democracy in the world, especially in my country, in Indonesia. And we can partnership and together make democracy build better quality and bring back democracy in the right track. Thank you for this opportunity. Terima kasih. Selamat pagi.
Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. So my name is Lavinia, and I'm from Malaysia. Currently, I'm a final year Bachelor of Pharmacy student at Monash University, Malaysia. And my passion revolves around healthcare, and I believe that everyone deserves accessible and equitable healthcare, as well as the decision to make informed decisions about their health. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Miza. I'm from Brunei Darussalam. I'm a marketing associate, and my passion is on digital literacy. And thank you for having us here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kwankhao Wongpnedwarodom. I'm from Thailand. I graduated from Thammasat Law School, and I've been providing pro bono legal service for survivors of gender-based violence for the past 4 years. And on a side project, I also publish children's storybook on child sexual exploitation prevention. Thank you.
Xin chào. This is the first very word I was learn in Vietnamese, and today I'm very happy to say xin chào to all of you guys here. My name is Giang. I come from Vietnam. I just a fresh graduate at National Economic University, and I'm currently working as an analyst at Mastercard Vietnam. Although I'm still navigating my life in the corporate world, I have a deep interest in the community service and bringing equal opportunity for young people in mountainous area in Vietnam. I have worked in a lot of projects in community service throughout 7 years, and I'm really grateful to have a chance to standing here, to bring all of the story from my home country to share with other fellow in the Wisely program. Thank you for having me today and welcoming me. Cảm ơn rất nhiều. Yeah.
Hi everyone, good morning. Mingalaba. My name is Tarai Mui, and you can call me Nick. I'm originally from Burma, but now I reside in Thailand for mine security. I'm an activist and creative organizer working at the intersection of art, advocacy, and public engagement for social justice. I currently serve as the program director for the organization called A New Burma, which I co-founded in 2022. The organization dedicated to empowering Burma's marginalized communities through creative resistance and public engagement. Our work amplifies the voices of those affected by military oppression and by conflict. And I'm deeply passionate about using storytelling and education and movement building to push for democracy, equity, and trauma healing in conflict-affected areas. Thank you for having us here, and have a good day too.
Good morning and xin chào, that's hello in Vietnamese. I'm Hoài Anh, I'm from Vietnam. I graduated with a Bachelor in International Relations and Culture from the Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam. Currently, I am a communications and development practitioner. On a daily basis, I work with the Australian government to ensure inclusive access to quality education in Vietnam. After my 9 to 5, I also work with a social enterprise to ensure that marginalized youth voice are heard throughout Vietnam in the governance process. Thank you for having me. Cảm ơn.
I'm Minglava, and my name is Sue, and I'm from Burma. First of all, I would like to say I'm really honored to be here and to speak in front of you. So, a bit about my background. Back in Burma, I am working as a teacher, especially in monastery schools, where we have lots of underprivileged children around the country because Burma is actually having many conflicts going on. So, I'm working as a teacher there, and I myself also came from that kind of underserved community. So that's why I'm really proud to be able to help those kind of children back in my country. But currently I am studying my communication arts degree and I'm in my second year. So my passion goes to teaching, empowering the children, and especially to the underprivileged children. So thank you so much for having me and have a nice day.
Good morning. My name is Rajana, and I am from Cambodia. I graduated from Royal University of Phnom Penh and majoring in international relations. And currently, I'm working at one of the local organizations called Women Peacemaker Organization, and we work to promote the gender equality, youth and women empowerment, and also addressing the gender-based violence. And thank you so much for having us today, and also thank you for Mr. Wall and Wisely program team for bringing us to here today. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Shalom, salam sejahtera. First of all, my name is Janti Andelin Chitenoye. I come from Indonesia, especially in the eastern part of Indonesia, which is Papua. Currently, I am majoring English education at International University of Papua in the Papua Province, Indonesia. And during my spare time, I usually teach English to my friends and to my college friends and my other friends, as well as my family who are keen to learn English. And I'm passionate in sustainable education because Indonesia, specifically in Papua, we are lack of incompetent teachers. And the education is not flawless. It's not flawless. So I'm looking forward here to learn as much as I can to learn about the effective education to implement in Papua, in Indonesia, specifically in Papua in the future. Thank you. Koyao.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sulasia Kaumani. Yoyong Gulube Huwa Sulasia Kaumani. I'm from Laos and also I'm from Hmong ethnic group. So that is also here in USA a lot as well. I am from countryside, like rural area. My passion is about education and youth empowerment. I work as the volunteer since I was 12 years old. Now I'm 23, so it's been like a long journey for me. And my passionate about that is like I aim to eliminate the young marriage. So because of my ethnic group, they married like 12 years old. So I wanted to be the one who implement with the opportunity education. So that's why I working with like many of the organizations to support the youth and empowerment women. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm from Vietnam. Actually, I have a bachelor degree in international relations from Vietnamese National University. And currently, I've been working as a teacher for students in my country. And for me, education is not just a tool for learning. It's a tool for empowerment, for transformation. So that's why I'm standing here in order to empower other people, other students in my country to develop better in the future. Thank you.
My name is Tola and I come from Cambodia. I was born into a rural area in a small province in Cambodia. Changing from primary school to secondary school to high school and then to university is very hard. I experienced a lot of challenges and obstacles. But today, look, I am a fresh graduate. I got a wonderful job, and my family is getting very better in terms of financial aspect. And this is the thing that inspired me to be passionate in helping rural kids in Cambodia to pursue higher education and have a better future. Therefore, today I'm working as a scholarship and education program manager for one NGO in Cambodia, helping thousands of students in Siem Reap in Cambodia. Today, I'm standing here in US because I want to learn the success from organizations and NGO, as well as the governments, so that I could do more and expand our reach to help even more students in Cambodia. Thank you so much.
สบายดี Hello, my name is Sukhawon Nungala from Laos. Currently, I'm a senior student majoring in English at the National University of Laos. And I'm a founder and a president of the LEAPS, the Lao Youth Power for Sustainability, an organization that focuses on youth empowerment and educational accessibility for Lao children on environmental conservation, English education, and poverty eradication. Moreover, I have been involved in various community development, such as Good Hand Laos, Zero Waste Laos, UNEP Laos, PAMAI, and MMP. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mabuhay. Hello to the Honorable Commissioners of the Douglas County and officials. I am Ansley Christopher Dion Carino. You can call me Slay. I am professional civil engineer in the Philippines and a community leader with the organization Angat Kabataan Valenzuela, which aims to empower the youth. With a background rooted in infrastructure development and community service, I am deeply passionate in building not just resilient structures, but resilient communities, which aims to involve the youth as the catalyzer. And I do believe that we do not inherit progress, we build it. And in every foundation we lay, and in every youth that we empower, we shape the future that we deserve. Thank you.
This is my 74th orbit around the sun. And if any of you are wondering why after 23 years, I'm still doing what I'm doing, you just got 25 good reasons why. Thank you again for your hospitality.
Thank you. Thank you, Val. And is there anybody wishing to speak on this presentation? Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thank you. Val, do you want to step up for a second? I'd like to personally thank you for your decades of dedicated service to this important program, and welcome the young leaders from Southeast Asia who come every year to join with us in exploring how we do government, both how you do government, how we do government, and see if we can forge friendships and relationships that make us a better world. We admire what you've done over the decades that you've worked so hard on this program, and it really makes for, I think, a better future. You young men and women are the future, and we are inspired by your presentation here today. Every year when young leaders from Southeast Asia come, I am staggered by your poise, grace, and ability to carry on discussions with government leaders on the other side of the world. I really admire your level of education and professionalism, and I share Dr. McPherson's belief that sitting in front of us are some of the future leaders of Southeast Asia, and we hope that we have a long and productive relationship with the United States. We're a country of immigrants. We're from all over the world ourselves, and so we welcome people from all over the world, and we try to have a form of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We're not perfect, but we do try. We are dedicated to progress, not perfection. And we recognize that there are different interpretations on how to do public service around the world. But it's essential that we have public service for the people of the world. You know, we all breathe the same air and we drink the same water and we are on the same planet, and we need to make it work better. The environment needs to be restored, human rights need to be respected, and we all need to learn to live together in peace and harmony. That's our hope, and we hope that we can share that with you. We hope that you'll come back again and again to work with us on making the future better for us all. Thank you very much, and Doctor, thank you for your important work on this project. Thank you.
And if you'll please excuse us, there's some of 7 people who will be sharing this room this afternoon who would also like to meet this group. Thank you again.
Thank you, Val. Anyone else wishing to speak on this presentation? Mr. Storr, step forward. Step forward. You're welcome.
Good morning. Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha, 68132. I welcome the young people, and I hope they take something back today that hasn't been said. Talking about the civics. Well, civics needs to be defined. The person that defines that controls it. And what they see in this room is sometimes controlled by rules that are maybe unreasonable. Mr. Kavanaugh said this is a sovereign country, a unique constitutional republic in which citizens like myself are sovereign. Not them, but citizens. So they work for us. However, you all have a copy of the rules. You may not understand it because those rules are made to restrict citizens' input at these meetings. And these meetings are supposed to be for citizens. Thank you for being here. But you're not told all the truth. The professor defines the civics, however. He doesn't explain how it actually works down here because he's hardly ever here. A year or two ago, because I dared to speak to his students that were hanging out in front of the legislative chambers before the city council meeting, a little friendly professor was offended that I dared to speak to his students. He was down on that floor and he was running to the security people, saying, "Get that guy out of here, he's bothering my students." So it's not exactly all prim and proper roses as you guys paint it. Unfortunately, they didn't get to hear that, because what they should be taking back is that these boards and the city council don't necessarily represent the citizens. They're told that they do, but they don't. You step out of your way to make rules that restrict our ability. And I am offended, because I have many times in front of this microphone and in emails requested of any one or all of you to please put We the People on the agenda, primarily to speak about this, but also the elections. But not one of you have stepped up to do that, not one. 7 little Indians, and not one has the nerve to put me on the agenda, or Mr. Robert Bohr, or anybody else that wants to talk about We the People and the elections. You restricted it, you denied it.
1 minute.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Storr. We now, in presentations, we now move to presentation B, the County Assessor Office and Register of Deeds presentation. I have Denise on here. Oh, Mike. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. just these.
Thanks.
Okay.
Pretty good at that.
Yes.
All right.
Left to right.
Very good. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Goodwillie, Douglas County Assessor, Register of Deeds Office. I have with me today Mark Jenkins and Zach Bass, two of our appraisal supervisors, as well as Denise Lakai and Danielle Rydberg from our office staff. A couple of years ago, the late Walt Peffer did a presentation for you guys, sort of a state of where values are for the particular year, and it had been a couple of years, so it seemed time to revive the practice. It's apropos, I suspect, because first, valuation change notices will be going out here in a couple of weeks. Protest season occurs in June, and you'll be able to see also some of the vague outlines of the value available for levy for budget purposes, because you've got that soon after. So let me walk you through a couple of things. I hope this works properly. When I was a youngster coming out of school, I was taught that lawyers should stand up at the podium and argue like men and not need a lot of props. And so I've never been a PowerPoint kind of guy, so this is a new thing for me. Because the past is often prologue in these things, I thought I'd give you a little refresher on what value has done in Douglas County over the last decade. And these two charts deal with residential. They're compiled by the Multiple Listing Service, so they aren't our numbers. But nonetheless, it's kind of helpful to have outside sources for these things. And the takeaway of this, obviously, is what we've probably all already known, is that over the last decade, the growth in residential value based on selling prices has been pretty much unprecedented. Per the MLS, basically the median sales, closed sales price in Douglas County has basically doubled in the last decade. In terms of what that looks like in real dollars, here's just the last 2 years of the study period on which our values are evaluated by the state of Nebraska. And I've broken these average selling prices out by our residential market areas. There are 19 of them. And then at the bottom, there's sort of the overall. And what you'll see is that overall selling prices in this from one year to the next increased by about close to $17,000. It varies by market areas, but what you see is sort of the movement of that chart in a much smaller bite with real dollars. Other people have noticed, and I think we've provided a copy of both this article from the U.S. News and World Report about Omaha being the hottest U.S. housing market, along with another article from CoStar Insight News, which is a sort of source of commercial property information. If you wonder what's going on with all the apartments that you've seen go up like crazy over the last few years, well, it appears that not only are they building them, but they can fill them, and the reason they're getting built is because they can command ever higher rents. And other people nationally have noticed, and we lead major U.S. markets in multifamily rent growth. So this has been sort of trending for a little while. Let me move forward. A lot of the sale price pressure has been based on the old economics 101 concepts of supply and demand. And what this graph does is it sort of tells you what active listings for sale look like versus sales. And you can see a stretch there in early 23 where there really was no supply, or at least not significant. I mean, they were getting snapped up as soon as they were offered. The supply seems to be loosening somewhat, but this is a pretty close spread. So with that as background, we've seen the trends of the last decade sort of continuing with residential property. A couple of refreshers of the standards we're held to. We are obliged to value all property except for agricultural land at actual value using one or more of 3 professionally accepted mass appraisal techniques. Our assessment performance is reviewed in the report and opinion of the property tax administrator annually. And we have 2 standards we have to meet. One is actual value, and the other is whether the values are uniform and proportionate. The shorthand term for that is equalization. Okay. Okay. And essentially, what equalization means is not that all 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom homes are valued at the same market value, but that instead everyone is at the same relative standard in relation to market. The idea is you do not want somebody who's assessed at full market value and then have their next door neighbor at 60% of their market value. The other thing to keep in mind is that the constitutional provisions require us to treat sold and unsold properties in the same fashion. Now, we get a report card in terms of level of value, and understanding this is, we're entering the realm of statistical geekdom, but the best way to understand it is for residential, we have a 2-year sales window. For commercial, it's 3. And during those, for arm's length sales during those windows, the assessed values for those properties are divided by the selling price. The median level, the median ratio of those is our level of value. And so your target is between 92 and 100% for residential and commercial. Agricultural land is its own thing. I don't mean to minimize it, but there's so little of it in Douglas County that it's sort of a statistical blip on the radar screen for us. There is a tell that you can get from those statistics, and that is the Department of Revenue's report and opinion breaks those statistics out by quarter within those study periods. And if over time your quarterly levels of value start to drop, what that tells you is sales prices are rising because the denominators are getting bigger, the selling prices. And so one of the things that we look at when we get our report and opinion as sort of a precursor to what we're going to do or have to do in the next year is what do the more recent quartiles look like in terms of ratios. So if you have ratios that go 98, 96, 94, 92, 91, 90, yeah, you're in range overall, but those last 2 quarters are telling you something. So where we were for 24, we're a little north of 93% for residential, commercial 94. So all of those things were within the acceptable range, but the foreshadowing was the final 3 quarters of the residential study period indicated declining ratios, or in other words, sales prices were continuing to climb. So beginning in the summer and early fall of 2024, as we were preparing for what we needed to do, looking at 2025, here's where we were at. We were seeing, in a revised sales study period, we were seeing our market areas out of acceptable range, and we were seeing the average selling prices climbing. The same goes for commercial subclasses. And let me give you a chart so you can see this. Is there a way to blow this up a little bit? You guys have it? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
But if you take a look at this, this would have been sort of the fall of 2024. And as you look at all of these ratios, you see a lot of them in the 80s. They're out of range, and that's not just for residential or commercial. So that's where we were for both residential and commercial. And it's kind of what you would expect given the graph in one of the earlier slides and the steady increase in sales prices that we've been seeing. So we knew that some reappraisal was going to be required both for residential and commercial properties. So on the residential side, what I did was give you a before and after here. This is one of our market area maps. And what you can see are sort of a before and after, what we were looking at in the fall of '94 and where things ended up after doing the reappraisal work that we did. So you can see that everybody had some reappraisal work to some degree. And this is a more graphic or a more a wordier explanation of what we did. The residential neighborhoods that were outside the acceptable range were reappraised. We reappraised some commercial classes and subclasses that were out of range. All of the residential market areas had some increase, and based on local market conditions, they varied. Overall value in the county is up from 24 to 25 by 6.93%. That may help Lori Persh with some of her financial projections. Of that, 1.28% was growth, which kind of has some play in terms of what the tax request can be compared to the previous year. This is just sort of a look behind the numbers. What I will tell you is that not every parcel was changed, but that sales data drives neighborhood level changes. And most of the 24 reappraised neighborhoods we tried to leave alone in 25, so we didn't go back to back. So applying the 25 values to the study period, the available statistics are in the 2025 report and opinion of the property tax administrator, but our level of values appear to be 93.20%. For residential and commercial, 94.70. The Tax Equalization and Review Commission has reviewed our data, and in a preliminary meeting back in, I think on April 24th, they did not recommend bringing us in for any kind of proposed percentage changes to a class or subclass. So I think this is where we're going to end up. In terms of parcel changes, we're sending out 95,000 change, almost 96,000 change notices, and those will go out the 23rd of May. This is down slightly from previous years. There are a couple of important dates to keep in mind. One is the notice date that we're sending out, the 23rd. And I know it seems a little bit early, but statutorily our deadline for sending them out is June 1st. And very early in my career when I worked for the Department of Revenue, the state had enough money to operate some assessment offices for a brief mad time. And we had a couple of assessment offices where the printing, where we were meaning to send out the notices at the very end of May. Somehow the printing got screwed up and they went out late, and we had to do some extraordinary work to get that all squared away. And the one thing I took away from that experience is, in case there is some kind of an issue, I want to leave a little bit of time at the end. So anyway, here's where we ended up. Slightly fewer notices. The protest period runs from June 2 to June 30, and I think Dan Esch will have his protest website up here as we get closer to that. I want to take a brief look ahead. Obviously, the market is going to be kind of dependent on the broader economy. And I'm not sure anybody has a crystal ball for that at the moment. What I will say, though, is that in the past, here in Douglas County, we've been pretty stable and avoided double-digit ups and downs that have beset other markets in the country. If you recall the 2008 to 10 recession, you had some markets, I think Miami and Las Vegas were among them, where literally selling prices just fell out the bottom, 25, 50% lower. That really didn't happen here. Things flattened out a little bit, maybe down a percentage point or two, but but we have a stable enough economy where we may be a little bit insulated from significant ups, more significant ups and downs, at least double digits. We are seeing some things that tell us maybe the numbers are softening a bit. So, for example, the U.S. News and World Report piece was reporting a softening of the median selling price from 3.25 to 304 in the summer of last year, and in the last several quartiles of the 2025 report and opinion, we aren't seeing the significant drops we've seen in other years. Now, that said, I have talked to Zach, our residential supervisor, and he has seen small blips, months, 2-month spans, where it looked like things were flattening out, and then the very next month, not so much. So I don't have a crystal ball. What I'm saying is we don't seem to be, at least based on the last 3 quarters, we don't seem to see sales prices increasing as much, but we really won't have the full story on that probably until we review some of the more recent sales periods. And of course, if prices stabilize or decline, we will reflect those with our values. It may put some pressure on political subdivisions over on the levy side, right? Because in a rising market, there's less pressure on what you do with the levy, I think. In any event, that's kind of where we are. I wanted to let you folks know. And if you have any questions, fire away.
Thank you, Mr. Goodwillie. And we do have commissioners in the queue. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thank you for this. I got to say, this is great because it makes it easy for somebody like me to understand what's actually going on, which is...
Well, you're probably where I was when I started doing this, and that was when I went to law school, I was promised there would be no math.
Yeah.
And yet...
They lied about that.
And yet here we are, so you kind of learn this applied statistical analysis as you go. So I sort of appreciate that.
Right. So if I get this right, there's been kind of a shift overall from single-family dwellings more to apartment living. Is that right?
Well, I don't know if that maybe is asking for demographic information that's a little bit above my pay grade. But what I will say is there have been fewer single-family dwellings available for sale and fewer sales. So, for example, the 2-year study window on which we were judged for our 25 values for residential, it only had about 16,300 sales in it. In previous study periods, that number has been closer to 19,000. So I think the logical conclusion you could draw is if there are less single-family homes available and being sold, people have to go live someplace. So I guess I assume they're shifting into apartments.
So when we talk about the residential market areas, we're talking about both single-family and apartments?
No, we're talking about single-family and what, probably condos too, Zach?
Yes, correct.
So single-family and condos, but apartments are treated more as multifamily on the commercial side.
Okay. Is that a separate subset under the commercial? Is the residential commercial?
We break the multifamily out as its own, multiple residents as its own set of subset.
It's its own setup. Okay. Yeah. So when it says residential average selling price, it looks like the most recent year might be $364,521.
Oh, let me grab my chart.
11,
sure, that sounds about right. It went like from 347 to 364, maybe, if I remember the numbers correctly.
Yeah, that's year 1 and year 2.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Are those single-family homes that we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And when you're sending out these notices, I think they come to like right around 100,000 notices, both.
Yeah, it was like 95 or something all in. Yeah.
So how many parcels are there in the county total?
We have about 210, 215,000 taxable parcels, kind of depending on the day of the week and the month of the year and who's doing splits and combinations and replats.
Okay, so a little less than 50% of the parcels will be receiving these notices of change.
This is true.
Okay. And if you don't have a change, you don't get a notice?
Right. But let me dispel this right now. There are people that think, well, I didn't get a notice, so I can't file a protest. That's not true. You'll get a notice if your value changed up or down, but that does not limit a property owner's ability to file a protest. If they, on further reflection, think they're in the wrong place, even if they didn't get a notice, they're still free. They are still free to protest. And I will say certainly that there are people in this county that protest every year regardless of whether they get a notice or not.
Right. Well, I think we get notices pretty regularly. I don't think I've ever been fortunate enough to get a notice of decrease of value. But could you tell us the percentage of increased notices, the percentage of decreased notices?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Is it overwhelmingly increased notices?
Well, sure.
Time, gentlemen.
I'll come back.
We do have other commissioners in the queue. Commissioner Borgeson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mike, on when we were talking about the apartments, do we have, or does anyone have, the percentage of apartment occupancy in Douglas County?
Do we have any idea, Mark?
It's between 4 and 5%.
Percent occupied or percent vacant?
Well, the percent vacancy is between 4 and 5%.
Okay.
So 95 to 96% occupied.
Wow. Occupied. Wow. Okay. And I've actually heard kind of the same thing, which again, there's no statistical data, but people are saying that for a couple of reasons, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they think living in an apartment they don't pay property taxes. Well, they still pay.
Well, they're paying their landlord's property taxes.
They're paying, but their argument is property taxes are too high, so everybody's moving into apartments.
Well,
so I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't.
That's a misnomer that is out there. So on this map on page 13, when you talk about some areas weren't touched.
Well, I mean, there are individual neighborhoods within all of these market areas.
Oh, okay.
And so there may have been some that were reappraised that we saw sales and they were out of range and we reappraised them last year and we looked at them this year and there was no need to reappraise them 2 years in a row. That's what I meant.
But in all markets, there's some.
Some are going up and some are not.
Okay, all right. And then, did I hear you right when the question, because that was my other one, was are we up to 210?
About 215,000 taxable parcels, 210, 215.
And that's just, that's not counting commercial, or is that?
No, that's
strictly
everybody who's taxable. So it leaves out governmental properties that are exempt. It leaves out churches and schools that are exempt. But we have 210,000, 215,000 thereabouts taxable parcels.
But that includes both residential and
Includes
commercial?
all of it, res,
Okay,
com, and A.
Okay, all right. Thank you, and thank you for this. This is great. And thank you guys for your work.
Thank you, Commissioner Borgeson. And Commissioner Kavanaugh, your light is on for a second.
Sure. Just kind of where we left off, Mike, the number of notices that you sent out is like 95,000. The overwhelming percentage of those would be increases?
Oh, I think based on the other data I presented today, that's absolutely true.
Okay. So those folks then have about a month to protest?
The month of June, yes.
Yeah, okay. And they can ask for a face-to-face protest, or they can send in the information?
I think Dan's office, the clerk's office, runs kind of the protest process in connection with Catherine Hall as well.
Right.
And I think there are options to get a personal meeting with a referee. Other folks prefer to just send their stuff in. And we would encourage them to, when they file their protest, attach any backup they think is relevant. If the referees get a protest that says, well, my value is too damn high, period, end of sentence. Okay, maybe it is and maybe it isn't, but it doesn't give them much to look at to explain why you think it's too high. So if you've got pictures, if you've got appraisals, if you've got some sort of condition with the property that needs remediation and you want to share a repair estimate.
Would comparable sales in the neighborhood be applicable?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sometimes people struggle with what truly is comparable, but sure.
Right. So this is kind of a big deal because your work is pretty much done before this Board of Equalization work catches in. That's kind of the first review of what the assessor has done.
Well, actually, the first review is typically in February. That we post preliminary values on the 15th of January. People have the opportunity to come in and have a preliminary meeting with one of our staff appraisers. And often when they come in and share data, we may make a change in the value of that property. What happens, though, is by the middle of March, we are time barred, essentially, from making unilateral changes to value. So we actually appreciate it when people come in for their preliminaries, because we often learn things about a property that we may not have known that can inform the value the final value we set in March.
That's good to know, because you can make internal adjustments of your valuation during that period.
Exactly.
And then if people aren't satisfied with that, they can get an independent adjustment under the Board of Equalization process.
You bet. And my understanding is that the BOE referees will be, once again, appraisers who are hired by the county, who don't report to us, don't work for our office in any way.
Okay. And then if they're still not satisfied, they can appeal to the state, to
the Tax Equalization and Review Commission.
So,
and actually, that can be a handy vehicle if they're unhappy but they don't file an appeal, then they're done. Period. When that appeal period runs out, if they do file an appeal, often that provides a vehicle for us to keep talking with that taxpayer and perhaps come to a meeting of the minds on a more equitable value.
Great. Well, thanks for this, and thanks for all your hard work. This is very helpful. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And Commissioner Borgeson.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had one more question
Sure.
on those, because I talked a little bit to you, I think it was last week, about the preliminary meetings. And so those run the whole month of February, right?
Yes.
And can you graph out for me when we started doing those?
There was a law change, and I'm not sure it's been a decade yet, but there was a law change a number of years ago that said we needed to post preliminary values by the 15th of January on our website, and then people can make appointments and come in during the month of February. I think March 1 is the drop dead date for those appointments. And that was a statutory change from a number of years ago, but I don't remember the exact year. We've been doing this for a while, though.
Right, and so what I was interested in is to, when we started doing them, how many we had versus over the years, each year, what do we have to date? And the reason I'm asking is because, and I know that back when the law was put on the books, it was because Lancaster did it, and so
everybody thought that was a great
Senator Campbell
idea.
thought everybody should have to do it. And, so, okay, fine. But from my understanding is there is a mass difference between the number that Lancaster gets for preliminary hearings versus us. And their Board of Equalization numbers have actually decreased.
Okay.
Now, this was a couple of years ago, could have changed by now, but what I'm trying to get at is I don't think we promote the preliminary meetings well enough.
Okay.
And so if there's something we can do to work on that for, not this year, obviously, next year, I would be happy to be a part of that, because I think people would be, I think, more apt to come in and do that. But I mean, like this year, actually forgot about it because I saw nothing about coming in for preliminary meetings. But if we have that data, I would be interested. If you don't, that's fine, but if you have it, great. But let's talk in the interim here between now and next year as to how we can increase those preliminary
Certainly.
meetings. Bless you. Preliminary meetings.
Thank you, Commissioner Borgeson. Mike, I'm going to take a quick turn here. And I don't know if it's a really relevant, well, it might be relevant, it might not. The 19 market areas that we have, and you kind of laid out, you answered one of my questions by talking about a particular market area and how you break some of that stuff down. Real quick, how long have we had 19 market areas? Do you know?
Oh, it's been, what, 4 or 5 years?
So it changes.
Since about 17 or 18. Okay. Yeah, they've changed some in recent years as we add a high school, but what we've decided is that sort of a location thing, the easiest way to have boundaries would be the high school enrollment boundaries.
Have you found from a enhanced equalization standpoint when you strategize those boundaries as efficiently as possible, does it help?
It has been helpful, actually. One of the ancillary statistics that is available in the report and opinion every year is not just levels of value, but there's a statistic called coefficient of dispersion, okay? And because I don't quite speak fluent geek yet, the best way I can explain it is it's a measure of how closely the assessment sales ratios group around that median. And the lower the number, the better. And since we've gone to this kind of stratification by market area, that coefficient of dispersion has declined on an annual basis. And I think we're hovering overall at right about 10, which is pretty damn good for a county that has as diverse an array of housing stock as we do. In fact, the International Association of Assessing Officers, which is sort of the think tank for the mass appraisal industry, will tell you that if your coefficient of dispersion in residential is below 5, unless you have very homogeneous housing stock, you're cheating. So the sweet spot is somewhere above 5 and 10 or below. And we have been improving that COD number every year.
Yeah, and you may have already addressed this, but my final point was when I look at the map that we had on 13, and when I drive around out in that area, it seems to me that the DC West, and I shouldn't pick on that. It's a huge geographic area, and the other thing is when I drive around out there, the diversity in residential, not just commercial, but residential.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. So you'd hate to pick on the DC West location and say, oh, by the way, we're going to create 3 new, we're going to create three additional market areas in there because what you're saying is, Mike, you don't have to. You'll go out into the DC West area and break that thing out accordingly. You're not going to do the same thing up in King Lake that you're going to do over in Valley.
Well, no, the data would point us in different directions.
Right. I don't see anybody else in the queue. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on this presentation?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Mr. Storr, step forward.
Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha, 68132. My experience with the process has been less than friendly. 1 or 2 years ago, the personal meeting with the referee, who's probably a real estate person, was, what's the matter? Don't you want to live in Dundee? It's not a question of whether I want to live in it, it's whether I can afford to live in it. The average sales price, that's got to get changed because no matter what our house looks like compared to somebody else, they are not the same in terms of square feet or amount of remodeling that's been done, size of properties are different. Dundee is all over the map on it. Go 2 blocks and it's different in any direction. My wife and I are looking around to downsize, maybe leave the area. So we've been shopping, hopefully close to Dundee area. What we found was there's quite a few flippers. People that have had their house less than 2 years, probably. They've remodeled it, turned it, and flipped it. Paid the lower property tax because they haven't been reassessed. The new guy has to pay the higher. That drives up the price. The price of a house yesterday we looked at was unbelievable. Almost $600,000. No, I'm sorry, it was over $7,000. Property tax, but the sale price was way over $700 and some thousand. And in neighborhood 14. So I guess I better move out real soon. It's an unfair thing. You've got too many real estate people involved in that. It's a conflict of interest. Now, in terms of Omaha being the hottest market, I doubt it. That depends on who's running the organization, doesn't it? You can interpret the statistics any way that you want. My UNO professor said that statistics are nothing but lies and damn lies. Now, if Omaha is the hottest market, then why do we have such a housing shortage? Do we really have? Because everybody I know can't believe the number of apartments going way up to ruin our skyline. You can't see it anymore. All over the place and clear out to the river west of us, towards Elkhorn and towards Wahoo.
1 minute.
All these big complexes, that many people moving into Omaha, that you have to build that many new big complexes and infill in Dundee area with other big multi-use apartment complexes, and we can't see the skyline anymore. Excuse me, I don't see evidence that many people are moving into Omaha. And most of those people are getting TIF financing. Unfortunately, the developers are usually also real estate people, construction people, but they also own a lot of the things they get the TIF for. Jay Noddle is one. He took his name off the one on Pacific Street recently. He got TIF for it. Big, expensive townhomes. But now he doesn't want his name on the sign outside. So he did something different with that. But he got TIF. He sells them. I'd like to build a big new home too, but I can't. So I should qualify for TIF because without it, it wouldn't get done.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Seeing no one else in the queue, Mr. Goodwillie, thank you for the presentation. Very, very much appreciate it. We will move. There are no public hearings on the agenda. Committee discussion and action under the Finance Committee. Under the Finance Committee, we have the budget report and monthly fee report as presented. Subsection B, under Administrative Services, we do have a resolution approving artificial intelligence, AI, guidelines for Douglas County departments. This is brought by Commissioner Rogers. Commissioner Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The resolution is brought before us as a result of discussion that's been happening in the committee meeting for the last 3 months. It was compiled jointly with assistance from the County Attorney's Office, DOTComm, and our IT Director, Diane Wallace. And it's a recommendation to the board as a first phase of recommendations to come. It's the second. I think 2 weeks ago, maybe we approved some training to be done throughout the county, and that included AI recommendations. This is the next phase, and it basically is guidance on usage of AI for the departments through resolution. And as I said, it's been being formed for the last, and talked about in the last 3 months in the AI committee meeting.
I will need a motion and a second for additional discussion. Any
I would move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers to approve, a second by Commissioner Borgeson. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thank you. And I want to thank the committee for their hard work on this. What I would suggest is, and I've read it, and there's some interesting stuff in here, because of the importance of AI and the future of government, I think it would be beneficial if we had a robust public discussion on this with the entire board present. And so with the absence of the chairman and Commissioner Morgan today, and I'm going to be absent next week, what I would propose is lay this over until the 20th so that we could get a full board weigh-in on this very, very important issue. Artificial intelligence, as we know, is looming as a big thing in the immediate future, and we should definitely take the time to have the public weigh in on this as well. I don't think it'll cause any undue hardship on anybody if we took that time and had the full board's input on this as well. So that would be my motion, just to lay it over for 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, there is a motion and a second to approve the resolution, but I hear you. I don't see any other commissioners in the queue. I will weigh in on this. I understand the point. I understand the point of a potential layover. Commissioner Garcia is here, or not here, and neither is Commissioner Morgan. We've established that, of course. What I would say, though, that this has had public vetting. It has been vetted in the administrative committee, at least one administrative committee meeting, possibly two. I don't know that for sure. What I would say is, and I'm not an expert on this, but I can tell you right now, and this is why I'm a little bit torn. I don't know if delaying this will do what we think it'll do. And here's my point. We have operating systems where AI is being is inundating all of our communication. So in other words, if you're in the Google environment, if you're in your mail and you're typing email, AI's already taken advantage. I mean, they will tell you how to write that email. AI has already infiltrated just about every avenue and every operating system that we have. I'd like, if we were going to lay this over, I'd like a little bit more input from DOTComm before we did. If DOTComm doesn't have an issue with this type of these type of guidelines being implemented, then I'm not sure I would have an issue with it either. My thing is, it's already there. All this does, to the best of my, and maybe Commissioner Rogers could weigh in, to the best of my understanding, is to wrap guidelines around how Douglas County departments are going to implement the stuff that's already out there and how we're going to get our hands wrapped around it. I know that doesn't help much, but that's really all I had at this very moment. I'm not sure delaying it would mean that much. I know Commissioner Morgan and Commissioner Garcia already know about it, and they've seen information on it. But I digress. Commissioner Rogers, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, one point I wanted to make is, Commissioner Garcia approved it to be on the agenda. If he would have had some questions, he would have held it off to some degree. To your other point, I don't have an issue with holding over. It's not major, but I don't understand what you get. Derek Cruz, Greg Anderson, who were part of DOTComm, and Teresa Urick have seen this, been involved with it from the start. That's why we went through it for like 2 or 3 meetings in a row. They've been fine-tuning it to get it here. Note, the public can say something on it, but it's not going to affect the public. This is just internal regulation and guidelines on how we use it and how we put some parameter around it. And at any point, if the board feels it's hindering, the board can come back and change it. And the board probably will have to change it because of the pace that AI continues to evolve. So this is just the initial footing on this, being recommended to put some parameters around it. And to your point, Derek Cruz, Greg Anderson, DOTComm, and Teresa ultimately signed off on this. She had the work done by some other people on the staff, but this is probably one of the things I think when we first started the committee, legal wanted to get in on. And it's honest to say this discussion has been happening since the committee was established last September or August. So, you know, I don't mind, but I don't know what it gets us.
Thank you, Commissioner Rogers. Commissioner Kavanaugh, you're
I
in the
guess a
queue.
couple of things. You know, there's nobody from DOTComm here. I would have questions. I think the public might have questions. This is a huge issue. I appreciate the work that's been done by the committee, and I don't object necessarily to, you know, what is here. I do have some questions that I'd like experts to maybe weigh in on in a public forum. This is the public forum. This is where we do the public's business. Committees are fine. They're working committees to make recommendations to this public forum. But, you know, I don't think it would harm anybody at all to have a public discussion. And without a public discussion, I can't support pretty much anything of this magnitude and importance. If it's so important, why isn't DOTComm here? And, you know, if we're going to do things like this, why aren't we doing it with the full board's complement of people here to discuss it publicly on the record? It hurts nobody or nothing not to have that discussion. Without that discussion, I'm not sure I can support anything, much less something as important as this. If we're just going to run things through because it's convenient to run them through, I'm not in favor of that. I'm in favor of robust public discussion, particularly on strategic issues like this, in light of the fact that it would delay nothing and it would harm nobody. Not having the public discussion does harm the public, who has a very great right to be heard on this very, very important decision. So I would say I renew my motion to lay it over 2 weeks when the full complement of the board would be here.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rogers, third time.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, I would say again, I would say I would usually not have an issue with this, and I would agree, but I had an issue with this because, you know, Commissioner Kavanaugh is part of the committee, and this is just getting brought up. He's been a part of the committee since the start, and this is just getting brought up. And I don't know what question can be answered that hasn't been answered in those meetings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Rogers. I would only add, I'm going to say one more thing. I don't know if it's going to help. The guidelines, to me, I read these guidelines beforehand. I'll restate this. The guidelines don't seem that onerous. We have we have 5 commissioners here and we have a quorum. If these guidelines to me seemed onerous and we didn't, these 2 particular commissioners weren't here, and I had questions relating to what we're actually trying to implement. So in other words, if we're driving AI down somebody's throat, I think that's a little bit different subject matter. These guidelines lay out definitions and how you're actually supposed to use the operating systems that we operate with right now when AI is already dictating the direction of some of our conversation. It's already happening. Start typing an email. Watch what happens. Start typing an email and look at it. It'll finish the statement for you, okay? Now, I think we're making a mountain out of them. I understand Commissioner Kavanaugh's concern because AI, maybe not to him, but to me it's a scary proposition. But these guidelines and definitions lay out a path forward as to how employees at the county level are actually going to implement some of these things that they're doing based on an already infiltrated system. So how do we curtail some of that? So, you know, I don't know. Look, every time we delay something, it moves into another final point. Every time we delay something, it moves into another county board meeting in a public forum that's just going to, I don't know, arguably waste commissioners and waste the public's time. This has had 3 open vetting sessions, and this is one of them. So I don't know. I think we just make a determination and move on. There is there is a motion and a second to approve this. And I think we just, and I see another light on, but my opinion is, I think we just move forward. And if there are problems, I think we readdress it. That's my point. Commissioner Fahey, you're next in the queue.
I'll be brief. I tend to agree with Commissioner Friend, but I don't want to diminish Commissioner Kavanaugh's point about a robust public discussion. I think he and I might just disagree based on the totality of the conversation that there's been a sufficient amount of weigh-in. I think reasonable minds can differ on that, but having said that, given that these are guidelines that can be revisited at some point, Commissioner Friend's discussion about maybe the urgency of getting them put in kind of carries the day with me at this point, knowing that they're not going to be, here set in stone from here on out, and that it's going to be a learning process going forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Fahey. There is a motion and a second on the table. Commissioners, please vote.
And just a...
Sorry.
No, it's Dan Ash, County Clerk. Just wanted to make a point for the public. While the board in the past has traditionally recognized a motion to lay over, even if there's a motion on the floor, it needs a second. There wasn't a second, so that's why we are moving ahead with the original motion to approve the item.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Motion passes 4-1. Commissioner Kavanaugh voting no. All other commissioners voting yes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The other item under committee discussion and action, item G under Human Resources, we have the weekly personnel report as presented. It's my understanding we do have need for an executive session for the purposes of litigation, I believe. Yes, for the purposes of litigation. Do I have a motion and a second to go into executive session? Motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Borgeson. Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0 to go into executive session for litigation.
Yes.
Yes.
Ask. Oh, I need to sign. I did, because I was.
You're fine to do it here, I'm just saying.
Yeah, as long as I'm not.
Motion to reconvene and adjourn by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Borgeson. Motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned at 11:01 a.m.